Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome back to The Blitz. It's been a while, but it's good to be with you again. Tim Alcorn, along with Matt Douglas from WEOL, Bruce Bishop from the Chronicle Telegram behind the camera, and each and every week, the Chronicle Telegram, along with FM 100.3 and AM 930 WEOL, proud to bring you The Blitz, as we'll talk high school football in the Lorain County area. And thanks to our sponsor, First Federal of Lorain, because each and every Blitz will bring you the First Federal of Lorain Team of the Week. Matt, didn't we just do this?
It certainly seemed like it. We were wrapping up the basketball season. Now here we go into football season. Exciting, Tim. This is one of my favorite times of the year. You're starting to get that nip in the air. Yes. Football Friday is officially back. It's a great time to be around.
It sure is. Although it was a tough week for Lorain County High School football in Week 1. The county went 5-11. It was a tough Week 1, as the only 5 winners, 3 out of the Southwestern Conference, with Avon beating Avon Lake, Midview over Elyria. Amherst opened up their season with a victory over Lakewood. Elyria Catholic got a nice win to open up their campaign, and Clearview was the 5th county winner. So a lot of teams looking to bounce back as far as Week 2 is concerned.
Yeah, but certainly a lot to hang hats on. I think when you're looking at some of those losses, Keystone in particular,
yes.
It was a 6-point loss to Bay, one a bigger school, to a team they always play very well. But they had 4 turnovers in that game, ended up resulting in 17 Bay points. So that's one you look at as Coach Griswold and you say, hey, if we keep the ball in our hands, we very likely go on to win that one.
And another team that I tip my cap to, even though they came up on the short end, the Vermilion Sailors.
Sure.
Now, they opened up on a Thursday night, took a long bus ride out to Toledo to take on a Toledo Bowser team. Vermilion without a senior on the team. They don't have a senior. They've got limited numbers, fell behind by 17 points in the ball game. Boy, at that point, it's real easy to say, it's Week 1, it's a Thursday night, let's just get on the bus and head back home. They battled back and almost pulled that game out. Now, they ended up losing 30-28, but I'm thinking it wasn't such a bad bus ride home. They're thinking, man, we came all the way back, came up a little bit shy, had a chance at the end, but boy, hats off to Brett Colohan and his staff and those Vermilion kids. That's a lot of character and a lot of grit shown by Vermilion. Now, they've got a tough customer coming up in Week 2. We'll talk about it in a moment with Clearview, the team that, one of the 5 teams that got a win last week. But boy, hats off to the Sailors.
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, as you mentioned, a Thursday night, one of those weird starts to the season, a long road trip, and I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, when a team gets down like they did and showed their willingness to fight back and very nearly made a final second drive to win that game, just coming up short, that says a lot to Coach Colohan. I'd have to think about his young guys and what they have moving forward this season. And I'm looking forward to this Sailors team because I think they're going to be fun and they're going to be gritty this year.
I agree. Now, of the 5 teams that won, a couple tip of the caps, I guess in the category of the more things change, the more they stay the same. Well, last November, when Elyria Catholic made the playoffs, they went to what they called the Juggernaut formation. At that time, it was Leighton Banjoff, who now is at the University of Nebraska, but he was getting those direct snaps and plowing ahead. Well, it took one game for EC to go back to that juggernaut, and why not when they have that huge offensive line?
Yeah, 289 pounds the average on that offensive line. Some guys well exceeding that number. When you got it, why not run behind it? It certainly is their strength. They utilized a couple big touchdown runs of 50-plus yards in that game. It led them to a victory over Perkins. And they jump in. That great Lakes Conference this year, with the addition of Buckeye and Fairview, it's conference week now for the Panthers as they move forward here.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the Blitz video. And one other thing from Week 1 that I want to reflect on, we had this game on WEOL. You talk about an unbelievable atmosphere over at Avon. Just a picture-perfect night for football. 2 great programs. Mike Elder, of course, leads the Avon program. Matt Kostelnik has done a great job in leading Avon Lake the past few years. These 2 teams just went at it. I mean, pads were popping, helmets were flying off, guys. Nick Perusik, the outstanding running back for Avon, 2 scores in the ball game, 1 on a pass, 1 on a late 16-yard run. Nick Perusik, the senior leader for this football team, just had a phenomenal game. Avon wins it 13-12. It's an old cliche, but man, it was what high school football was all about. What a great game and what a great atmosphere.
Yeah, expectations, I think, were high for that game, and if you're just a fan of football, it lived up to expectations. I mean, Avon getting the win in the fashion they did by 1 point. Avon Lake's defense, from my understanding, they're going to make it very hard on a lot of teams in that SWC to score. So, again, two teams I'm looking forward to. That's the beauty, I think, of that game in week 1 as well. A lot of people may not have loved it with the big rivalry there, but I do. You get to live, you fight another day. Those two teams can both do big things as this regular season continues.
Boy, no doubt. So congratulations to Avon and Nick Perusik. Just a great ball game. Well, there's our natural segue. Let's get into our First Federal of Lorain Team of the Week. First Federal started this back during the baseball and softball season. We thank the folks from First Federal for getting on board again for the football campaign. So each and every week we'll come up with a Team of the Week. 5 winners last Friday night, so not a lot to choose from, but we talked about Avon's big win over Avon Lake, 13-12. It was just a great effort. I think you've got to go with the Avon Eagles for opening up the season with that hard-fought win before a packed house at their home field. Avon, I think they're our First Federal of Lorain Team of the Week.
Without a doubt. I think going into that week 1, we sort of thought, well, it's probably going to be the winner of that Avon Lake if that game went the way we expected. It did. I mean, Avon ran into a brick wall in that Avon Lake defense, and they found a way to break down a couple of those areas and get into the end zone. So I think without a doubt, you got to take a look at Avon. They were down in that game. They pushed forward, made some risky calls in the game to get the victory as well, and I love it. I mean, we give this award to the team, and that was a team effort to get the victory.
Yeah, very well said. Indeed, a team win for Avon last Friday night. So our First Federal of Lorain Team of the Week, the Avon Eagles. And now that segues right into our next segment, which, of course, is Week 2. And, boy, Avon, they got to go over to Lorain to take on a Titan team that was really stung in Week 1 by the Brunswick Blue Devils.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how Lorain bounces back, because I don't think that was a game they were expecting to go the way it did. 31-7, Brunswick was on the winning side of that one. So it'll be fascinating to see how those Lorain Titans bounce back. And if they can have a competitive game and get a victory against the Avon Eagles, I mean, that does a lot for you as well moving forward.
No doubt. Well, I'll throw it to you. Any other Week 2 matchups that kind of catch your attention, Matt?
You teased it earlier. I think Clearview versus Vermilion is going to be a fun game to keep an eye on this year. Clearview had a very good victory against Toledo Scott, handled the game very well. Defense was strong. Offense was strong. Vermilion was chippy in their game over at Boucher. So I want to see what Vermilion can do against this Clearview squad and vice versa. I mean, Vermilion's a team that's not going to give up. We'll see how Clearview responds to that. So I'll be keeping an eye on that one for sure.
A couple of games that stand out for me as far as Week 2 is concerned. That great rivalry in the SWC, but it goes all the way back to the old Lakeland Conference, Midview and North Ridgeville. Ridgeville pulled the upset last year. It was a big, big win for the Ranger football program. Middy's looking for a little revenge this year. That game over at Ed Adelsberg Stadium. So we'll see if DJ Shaw and the Midview Middies can kind of get things righted this year from their perspective. North Ridgeville saying, hey, we want to win 2 in a row. Rangers got bumped by North Royalton in Week 1, so they're looking for their first win. Midview with a come-from-behind win against Elyria. I know that was a tough loss for the Pioneers, but for first-year head coach Devlin Culliver, he had to be pleased with the way that they got out to that lead.
Sure.
Now, they couldn't hold on to it. That's learning how to win. But an impressive performance by the Pioneers in Week 1. They have their home opener in Week 2. They'll be at the beautiful new football facility to take on Bedford.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see how that one turns out, because they were within inches of a possible victory in Week 1 against Midview. They get Bedford. That's a team they're capable of getting a victory against. It's a team that's a little bit down. So I'm intrigued to see how the Elyria Pioneers respond, and especially to have that home field advantage. Devlin Culliver has spoken very well about his team, saying they want to do things right. They want to get out there. They want to hit the field. They want to play hard, win or lose. They want to be able to hold their head high at the end of games. And I think they certainly can after that Midview game, and hopefully Bedford will give an opportunity at that first victory.
And we talked about Elyria Catholic opening up conference play. They've got Parma this Friday night. That's one to keep an eye on. And another one should be fun. Mike Passarello, the former head coach at Firelands, now the head football coach over at Amherst. Well, the Comets, coming off a win, will be hosting his old team, the Firelands Falcons. They dropped a tough one in week 1 to Edison, but I'm sure the Firelands kids who remember Coach Pass being there a couple of years ago, they'll be fired up for that one. So the Falcons and the Comets, that should be fun.
Yeah, without a doubt. Falcons under their 3rd year now with Ryan O'Rourke at the head, so they understand his offense, what he wants to do. I think this will be a whole lot of fun. I think it has a chance to maybe build on, and if they want to play this a few more times, be that kind of rivalry game out of conference.
Yeah, so it's going to be a fun week, too. It's supposed to be a beautiful night for football, so let's tell you about where WEOL will be. FM 100.3. We're proud of being on the FM dial now, and, of course, AM 930 on our mobile app and online. So on the radio side of things, I'm heading over to George Daniel Field in Lorain. I'll be there for the Titans as they'll be taking on that Avon team that got our first Federal of Lorain Team of the Week. That should be a good one, Avon and Lorain over at George Daniel Field. So that's the radio game. Stream 2 on WEOL's mobile app and online. That Firelands Amherst game we talked about.
Should be a lot of fun. Bit of a rivalry there. Perhaps you could call it the Coach Pass Bowl if you want to.
There you go.
The two teams, Falcons previously being coached by Coach Passarello, and of course the Comets there now. And then Stream 3, our Tri-C Medina County matchup. I think this is going to be a fun one as well. Highland, a rough loss in week number 1 to a very good Wadsworth team. Medina picked up a victory over Cleveland Heights, I believe it was, in week number 1. So you got two teams coming off different weeks. How will they respond? We're going to find out. This is always a fun rivalry in Medina County, too.
And, of course, all our coverage on Friday will start with the two of us. 5 o'clock, the football forecast, and then coverage of all the games in the 3 that we just talked about as far as our specific coverage on the radio, on the mobile app, and online. All right, Matt, that's going to do it for week 1. We'll be back again next week.
Yeah, I was going to say. 9 more regular season weeks.
There you go. Thanks to Bruce Bishop behind the camera. Matt, thanks to you. And, of course, the biggest thanks goes to you, the viewers. We hope you enjoyed it. Again, the Blitz, courtesy of WEOL and the Chronicle Telegram, will come your way throughout the 2019 season. We'll talk to you again next week from the Chronicle Telegram studios. So long, everybody.